Oops, I think I ended it a little too soon there, Dawn. I hit stop on the music before it did the little do thing.
But one of these days you're going to do that and they're going to catch me dancing over here because I dance to it every week like I've never heard it before.
I do too. And what I can see, like mine's different because I'm hosting, I guess, but I've got two little windows at the bottom with us in them. And so I can see you even when nobody else can. So I always know when you're dancing. Welcome to Story Strategy Live. Welcome back. Happy New Year. Yeah,
yes, I'm excited. I'm ready for this year. This is going to be a good year. I've decided.
We have a lot of stuff going on this year.
We do.
I'm going to see if we can keep all the balls in the air.
Hi, Julie. And we have somebody watching. It's awesome. Julie is back. Brooke is back.
Hi, guys. I keep clearing my throat. I don't know why. I'm not sick. I don't have COVID, but you'll hear me sniffing and being like the whole time. So I apologize in advance. But how was your holiday, Dawn?
It was good. It was very low key. It was just the four of us. A lot of pajama days. It was nice.
Yes, we had those too. It's actually with this whole like school at home thing, it feels like they're still on break. It's very like hard to sort of put a line between regular life and holiday life. And plus I still have all my Christmas stuff up everywhere. So
we took that down because sorry. Was I stuck or was you stuck? We took all of our Christmas stuff down because I was very worried.
Nope, you're
okay,
back now.
Julie or Brooke, is it me or Nancy that's stuck? We took all our Christmas stuff down very quickly because I was very worried that I was going to everybody was going to go back to school. And even though they're doing online school, they still have to be, online at certain times, that everybody was going to be back at school. And I was going to be the one walking around the house, picking up nutcrackers and wrapping them up and all of that. So we have completely.
That's not how it normally goes?
No, we have it's family time. It is bonding. Wow. And we have I have the added bonus of I am allergic to pine trees. So I can't touch it or I break out in a rash. So I just sit back.
An artificial tree.
Well, we like the real tree. We had an artificial tree for a long time, but we like the real tree. But this way I sit back and just hand people ornaments because I have grown kids. I mean, they're 17 and 18 and they put the ornaments on the tree. They take the ornaments off the tree. I don't have to do the lights or any of that kind of stuff.
So, well, that sounds good. Yeah, I have to do all the things.
I did hear you had an adventure.
Well, yes. So because we couldn't travel for the holidays and everybody was staying close to home, we have been exploring the ski mountains near us. As you guys know, we moved to Denver in June. So we bought Epic passes with my husband's military. He's eligible. So we get this great discount. And we were like, this is what we'll go do. So it's important to note that I've been skiing for a lot of years since I was in college. My husband never really did, even though he grew up sort of close to Tahoe. It just wasn't his thing. So the kids have been bugging us to go snowboarding forever. And I don't really feel like I need to learn a new skill at this point in my life. I'm happy to ski if I get up there. So my husband was like, I might as well learn how to snowboard. So they have been taking lessons. And I have been, when they go, I drop them off at their lessons for like a half day or whatever. And then I go have quiet time by myself on the ski lifts, and it's awesome. So that's like kind of how it's been. We've been 3 or 4 times now, and we went to Beaver Creek, which is like way further away. And we didn't realize that because we're new. So we just barely get there in time for their lesson, and there's no parking. So I had to drive them like all the way up the hill to where their lesson is supposed to meet. And I drop them off and they get out. And then I have to go, I like stop at all the parking lots, and they're like, no, we're full. You have to go park in town. So I go all the way back to town, which I mean, it's not that far away, but I have no idea where I am. So I drive back to town, find a place to park. And then I'm like standing on the side of the road with, my skis and everything, waiting for this bus that I think is going to come. Like, I have no idea where I am or where I'm supposed to be going. Finally, I get like a bus comes, and I like talk to the bus driver, and they're all enclosed in plastic. So you can't get anywhere near them now. And she's like, well, I don't go to the ski mountain, but I go over here, and then you can do this. And she made it sound like it would be a good idea to get on the bus. So I did. And then the bus drove like all over town. And I was the only person on it in ski gear with my little skis and everything. And I'm like, this feels like really wrong. Like, I don't think I'm going skiing today. I think I'm just touring Beaver Creek. But so finally the bus like kind of turns around and goes back in the direction I think the ski mountain is. And this other guy gets on in ski gear. And I was like, I feel better now. I was like, I'm kind of happy to see you because I wasn't sure that I was going to go skiing today. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I have no idea where I am or if this bus goes to the ski mountain. And he was like, oh, it does. Yeah. He's like, don't worry, I know how to get there. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm following you. So we get off the bus at the appropriate place. We get on a gondola together. We exchange names and pleasantries. And I'm figuring he's going to, drop me off at the bottom of the gondola. We'll go our separate ways. His name was Jed or Ted or Fred or Ned, something like that. He used my name about 90 times. So I know he knows my name, but I immediately forgot his as soon as he told me, which is a really bad habit that I have. But so we get to the base, like take the gondola, get to the base where the chairs are. And I'm thinking I'm going to just check in with the hubs, make sure everything's okay. And I wanted to look at a map and figure out how to get over to where they were so that we could all meet up when their lesson was done. And he's like, oh yeah, I can show you how to get over there. I'm like, oh, okay. So we get on the chair together. We go up and then he's like, well, so you don't have to be down there until like 3:30, right? And I was like, well, I mean, yeah, but we have to work our way across the mountain, or I have to work my way across the mountain. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll show you. So like he won't leave. Like he's stuck on me like Velcro. And like, I'd be like, I feel like I'm cramping your style. Like you don't have to ski with me. I'm slow. I'm old. I'm just going to take my time. And this guy's probably like, I don't know. I learned a lot about him in the process of this whole day. Because he did indeed stay with me the entire effing day. At one point, I was telling him about this horrible divorce that he had just been through and how he was crashing on his friend's couch, and how he made just enough to cover beer and stuff while he spent his winter working at the ski shop. And at one point he like opens up his jacket and pulls out these little bottles and he offers one to me, and it's like lemonade vodka or something. And it's like 11:30 in the morning. I'm like, I'm okay. He's like, you're missing out.
The bottles are my favorite part here.
Yeah, it was just really weird. I could not lose the guy. Finally, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go, okay? Because my husband and my kids are probably done. And I get down there and it's like freezing. It was really cold. So my kids are kind of miserable. And my husband was pissed at me because I told him all this. And he's like, so you spent your whole day skiing with some guy? And I was like, not by choice.
So yes, Julie, very much a meet cute.
It was a meet ugly. And at one point he says, man, I wish you were single. I'm like, you don't know me. B, like, you can't even see me. I'm wearing a helmet and goggles and a balaclava and like, your standards must be very low, sir.
The man had mini bottles inside his coat. I don't know exactly where.
I kind of was jealous, but I wasn't going to accept a random lemonade vodka from some guy named Ned on a ski lift.
Oh, right. I mean, that's what you're not supposed to accept drinks since you don't watch somebody pour. So yeah.
No, and it was too windy to hear the little click as he opened the airplane bottle.
To make sure.
So, I don't know. Anyway, that had absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about today, by the way.
I'm gonna be laughing about it for like days, so that works.
Yeah, well, and there's a ski lift or something or a run at Beaver Creek called the Boom Boom Room or something, because we got up to the top of one of the lifts and there's all these signs for the Boom Boom Room, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to go to the Boom Boom Room?" And I was like, "Ted, no. Fred, Ned, whatever your name is, we are not going to the Boom Boom Room together." Okay, let's just put that out there. I don't know what that is, but no.
So in the next Delancey Stewart book, there's going to be.
If only we had been different people, that could have gone a whole different way. But
yeah, skiing in the Boom Boom Room. So, yes. So this is who we are. Welcome to Evan and Ink.
Hot Matt and organized Dawn.
And I think this just shows you who we are. This is just us right here. We have mission accomplished.
I babble on and
but it's hilarious because the little bottles. I'm gonna love the little bottles. Okay, anyway, so Today, we are talking about who we are, what we do, what's new at Evident Inc. There's all sorts of new stuff we're going to be doing this year because we've got all the plans. So we're going to start off with you.
With me. Well, I was just going to talk a little bit about what we're doing and kind of what some of our plans are. I know we're going to get there, but I'm excited. I think what we have finally figured out is like what we love and how to apply that to what we're doing here. And so we're just going to be really focusing on content to help writers, new writers, experienced writers, really pull out the key elements of their stories and make them the very best that they can be through courses, through these videos, through one-on-one coaching and chats. And it's going to be fun. And articles.
I'm excited. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so what are we're just kind of going to introduce who we are and how we got here.
Mm-hmm.
I've been talking forever. Why don't you start?
Well, but you were here first. So
well,
you have
true.
to start the beginning of the story. I came later.
Nancy started Evident Inc. in 2004, kind of, because I've had a million jobs. I have recently learned that I am what you call a multi-potentiate. Have you ever heard that?
No, that's new.
That's what you call someone who can't seem to figure out what they want to be when they grow up. But I did have I worked in marketing right out of college, but in the proofreading, like copy editing, proofreading realm of marketing. So I was proofing and editing marketing copy, basically, for Academic Press, which is an academic publisher in San Diego. And it got me close to books. I knew I wanted to work around books, but I wasn't really editing books or anything. So it was just kind of a taste. And it paid, like, I think, very near the poverty line. So it wasn't a job I could keep for a long time. And I had the opportunity to move to New York City. So I decided to do that. And then I worked in marketing again for a while, writing a lot of marketing copy, press releases, doing a lot of PR, learning about sales, like how words sell, which was something I hadn't really ever thought about before because I was a literature major. So anyway, all these things kind of come together. The World Trade Center falls down. I have to leave New York City. It didn't fall, by the way. It got knocked.
It was pushed.
It was pushed. Anyway, you were there. So then I ended up back in California doing a bunch of random stuff. Eventually met my husband. And because he was in the military, I had to leave the job I had at that time. I was a pharmaceutical rep and go to a random place called Pax River, Maryland that I had never heard of, couldn't find on a map, and reinvent myself. And so I started freelance writing and took on a whole bunch of clients, kind of whoever I could get. So I worked in medical, I worked in real estate, I worked in fitness, lots of different stuff, but a lot of writing, a lot of editing, a lot of that marketing copy that I was talking about. And eventually, after 4 or 5 years of that, and I did some magazine writing and stuff, I started editing for a small press that focused on romance. And it was the first time I'd ever edited books, but I had the skill set I could kind of apply. I just needed to learn the Chicago Manual of Style. And then I also, in the background, was trying to think about what I wanted to write. And I knew I wanted to write something, but I felt like it had to be this big, important story, like the great American novel. And once I started reading and editing romance, I was like, this is what I'm going to do.
Yes, I have found my place.
Yeah. So in the background, Delancey Stewart was born. And in the foreground, Evident Inc. was starting to become a thing. It was still just Nancy Smay freelancing. But it kind of all just started to make sense. And so I edited for a few different small presses. And then eventually I didn't necessarily poach those clients. It was never like a thing I planned. People just kind of came to me because they knew I made contacts in the romance world as I was publishing. And then they would come to me because they knew I was an editor. And so it just sort of built. And I think I actually began calling it Evident Inc. and launched the website and everything around 2017, maybe. And so it was kind of just a cover for me doing what I wanted to do. And then Dawn joined me after we had a fortuitous meeting at RWA in Dallas. It wasn't in Dallas, it was in Denver. It was in Denver.
Yes, then I met Nancy in a bar and
most people meet me or a ski lift,
Well, and that was a really interesting meeting because I was just popping by to say hi to an author that I knew, and she was like, "Hey, do you know this person? Y'all should sit here and talk for a minute." And that worked out really well for both of us, I think.
Yeah, it has worked out very well. Because I'm at that point, so Becca, oh my gosh, why am I blanking? Oh, Becca Mysore was working with me for a year or two. She was a developmental editor and a story editor, and was looking for kind of a foundation, more of a business setting to offer her services through. So we teamed up for a while and shared some clients, and she's fantastically connected in the romance industry. And so that connection helped build the business a lot, and also was just a fun friendship to have. But there was a point at which she wanted to do some other things. And so I was kind of like, okay, well, now I'm at a point where Evident Ink does developmental editing, story coaching, and line editing, which is what I do. I need someone to take that story piece that Becca is going to take away with her when she goes. So it was at RWA about the same time that kind of transition was going to happen. And I was there to meet somebody else in this bar, and Dawn was sitting with the person I was meeting, maybe, I can't remember who it was. And and the next thing you know, I was like, "What do you do?" And she's like, "I'm a story editor." And I was like, "What?"
So I think that worked out well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it did. But how did you get to that meeting at RWA?
So I'm one of those, I was always reading. I'm a huge extrovert too. So I loved stories. I loved listening to stories. Because I was an only child, I loved that moment when all the adults would forget I was in the room and start telling all the stories that I probably shouldn't have been hearing at that age, but I was like soaking them all up. And so absolutely love stories, and I loved writing stories, and I have all these notebooks that are filled with like stuff that should never see the light of day. And but my parents, who were super supportive in anything I wanted to do, were they didn't think you could make a living as a writer. They very much were like, this isn't, didn't think it was very practical. And when I finally broke the news to them that I was not going to be a criminal defense attorney, I know, right? Because I was like 14, and I'm like, let me explain to you how I'm not going to be a lawyer. That's just not going to happen. So I became a teacher. So I'm very familiar with that paying right above the poverty line that you were talking about. And I taught middle school and high school for 18 years. And and in that 18 years, like, I met my husband, I had 2 kids, and I had always said that I needed to get out of teaching high school by the time my kids started started going to high school.
That's what my dad always said. He was a high school teacher too.
Yeah, that the idea of and I loved teaching. I really loved what I did. But the idea of dealing with teenagers all day and coming home to 2 more of them that were the same age was just not going to work well. And so I'd always said that, and I kind of had some plans. Possibly, I was very involved in some writer groups. I was writing, I queried, I was doing all this stuff, judging contests, all these things on the side. But I had the stability of teaching, and I had the stability of, when I get another rejection, it's okay, because tomorrow I'm going into my classroom. And then the year my oldest daughter was in 8th grade, and so high school here starts at 9th grade. The year my oldest daughter was in 8th grade, I walked out of my classroom on the first Friday of the year and had papers to grade, lesson plans for the next week, all that kind of stuff. I walked out of the classroom on the first Friday, and over that weekend, my mother had a medical emergency, and I never walked back in.
Oh, wow.
She was in the hospital for 12 days, and then she was given a terminal diagnosis. So I resigned. I'm an only child. She has no other family. I resigned. So the only time I ever actually went back to that room, which was really odd, is they hired somebody else, and that person was nice enough. Like, all my stuff was still in that room. Yeah. And he took very good care of it. And then I went back in May and packed up all my personal stuff. But, and we had lost my mom. We lost her in March of that year. And so obviously I wasn't going back to teaching in March. And at the end of the year, when I was having the discussion with my husband of what should I do, he's like, take a year and write. Take a
That's
year and figure out what you want to do. It's fine, you know? And so I did. I tried. And I love writing and I love making these stories, but I am a super extroverted, high communication person. And I was so lonely. The dog doesn't talk back. The plants weren't helping me with my plot. You know, my poor husband would come home and I'd be like, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then what did you do today? And it was good because I was home and my kids were really going through some stuff because my mother lived with us. And, you know, it was nice to be able to take care of that. And then I was judging a contest for my local RWA chapter. And I was talking to one of my friends. Both of these people are published. One of them is multi-published and is hybrid. And I mentioned, I'm like, if I could just talk to this author, like this contest piece that I'm judging is really like, it's almost there, but there's like these gaps. And if I just want to like put my email at the bottom of the thing and be like, email me and I will help you. I know how to fix this. And my friend looked at me and went, you realize that's a job, right? that people will pay you to do, that's called being a developmental editor. They will pay you to do these kind of things. And I was like, oh my God, really? And so my husband came home from work and I'm like, so guess what I'm going to do? And I'm lucky because he is super supportive and was like, sure, that's what you want to do. But what do we need? Set up a website, do whatever you want to do. And so again, I was editing for some people. I enjoyed it. I was kind of figuring out which parts of it I really enjoy, which parts of it aren't my favorite. And then I went to RWA. And so that worked out really well because obviously I like having a partner to play with. So that's how I ended up in the bar at RWA.
And so here we are today. So we've been together just over a year, maybe almost 2.
I think it's 2. I think it's almost 2.
And so we're finally, I think, kind of starting to formalize a few things and figure out the directions we want to go and how to build.
Yes.
So the things that, well, I guess, so we kind of touched on it, but what do you do? We've sort of illustrated which part of editing we both like to do. But when clients come to us, generally, if they're looking for developmental editing or what else, they'll come to you.
Everything I do is story related. I always say I'm not the person you want telling you where to put your commas because my philosophy is commas for everybody. So I do story coaching, I do story consultations, and I do developmental editing on the full completed manuscript. But all of my focus is your plot, characterization, voicing, pacing, tension, conflict, all of those high level concept type, overall story arch type things.
And Dawn does that for Delancey Stewart. She does that for some other pretty high-level, successful authors too. We won't name drop here, but we have a client page on our website. So if you're curious, you can always go look there. And we also post on our page when new books come out that we've helped with. Yes. So you can see them there. And so then my side is sort of the nitty-gritty comma stuff that Dawn doesn't like. But that's where I've always lived. I love language and sentence structure, and I'm getting better at being I'll use the word technical. That's not really what I mean, but I've always understood sort of intuitively how a sentence should be put together and how a paragraph should be structured and how an idea gets brought through structure like that. I have never been great at quoting rules or explaining exactly why it has to be a certain way. I just know how to fix it. So luckily I have, as you know, the big fat books behind me, the Chicago Manual of Style is sort of the rules for fiction most of the time. So I can usually point to, this is why, this is the thing that's in my head, but I can't explain it to you without telling you where to look in this book. So that's the part that comes naturally to me. And I do, I think, have a feel for story and pacing and characterization and that kind of stuff, just because I've been writing for so long now, and because I talk to you so often. And I read a lot of books.
Yes, and that's a huge key. Actually, reading a lot of books is a huge, huge key.
Yeah, although it's like my husband watching movies. He always sees the things that he doesn't like that like don't make sense to him, or I will suspend disbelief. I just like a good story. But now I'm starting to read books and be like, oh, like that shouldn't have happened so soon. Or,
Right.
like, oh, what about her? She was standing right there and now she's just evaporated. I notice things now.
Yeah, I get into what I refer to sometimes as rage reading. And that's usually when I'm very invested in the plot. I want to know what happened, but the writing is driving me crazy. And so that's when my poor husband, I'll be over there with my Kindle and I'm mumbling to myself, or then I'll stop and be like, okay, so this and that. And he's like, I will pay you to put the book down. Just get you another book. There's probably 1,000 of them on that little device. Just close that one and open a new one. That's all you got to do. And I'm like, no, I need to know what happened. So
Kaylin says she literally failed grammar in high school, but I have a hard time believing that because I've seen your writing. So
yes.
You're okay.
Oh, and we need to send a big hug to Julie, because Julie says being single during the pandemic is like solitary confinement. And yeah, big hug.
Do you
We're
want
sorry.
my dog? He'll come visit. He got in the UPS truck today. Got in the truck.
So he was shipping himself to Julie? Is that what was going on?
He just likes people that aren't us, in addition to us, I guess. But I opened the door stupidly to get the package that had just been delivered, and he bolted out. And first he was like, hey, what's up? And he like just stuck his nose up. But then he climbed into the truck and disappeared. And I was like, I'm really sorry. I do need him back, though. They were like, oh, okay, hold on.
Well, there's like a group, I can't remember if it's a Facebook group or if it's an Instagram tag, that UPS drivers post pictures of dogs that either come up to their truck or get in their truck or try to,
I thought maybe he was going to leave. He's exhausting, so I would have been sad, but also maybe not.
He got some rest and had internet because he quit chewing on the cable.
That is making me so mad. Yeah. We're not even going to talk about that. All right.
So let's talk about all the new fun stuff we've got going on this year. I'm excited.
Let's do that. Well, so you will see, we're not quite in the rhythm just yet, but there will be regular content on we have a blog. We just never use it. So there's going to be kind of like helpful tips, quick hits, things that probably relate to what we're talking about that week. So if you need to go a little deeper, or you don't remember what we talked about and you just want the high level, that's usually what that's going to be about. This week it's welcome to my life and please meet Dawn. But it'll be more story focused as we go forward. And what else?
We have the Story Strategy Saloon, which I just think is so cool. I just picture us having swinging doors and there's a piano going in the background.
We're wearing hoop skirts or something.
Right.
Low cut dresses. I don't know. Yes.
Which is on Facebook. So that's a private group on Facebook that is really meant for more interaction. So we have our people who show up and interact with us on our live streams, and we really appreciate this. And this is a place for y'all to come. So what do you do? Saddle up at the bar, slide up. What is that word?
You don't.
For you to come up to the bar and have a drink.
Get close to the bar in whatever manner is appropriate to you.
Have a drink, talk story.
Is that the word?
Yes, sachet. You should all sachet. And we've got story prompts that'll show up there. We've got grammar tips that are going to show up in there. Story questions to kind of keep you focused on where you're going with your story and your plot and your characters. Lots of fun stuff is going to be happening in the saloon.
Yes, belly up to the bar. I think Dawn was looking for
belly up to the bar.
For the Western terminology. You're the Texan, so you should probably be the one that knows that.
Yes, yeah, belly up to the bar. They all said it at the same time.
We'll just belly up to the bar then. Yes, so that's the Facebook group. There will also be, if you're in that group, then you may see opportunities that will not be shared in other places. So discounts or special giveaways, contests, stuff like that. So it will behoove you to join the group if you have not already done that. And you can find that on our general Evident Inc. Facebook page. There are I'm sure there's a link on there somewhere. We'll post it again.
Yes, we'll post it again for you.
And the newsletter too. The two things sort of are connected because those are the two places that you're going to be able to find special content that you won't get anywhere else with deals and discounts and freebies and that kind of stuff. And I said A like I had a B. I don't think I do.
B is the newsletter we're giving. There's a giveaway every month.
Oh, well, that's only
a craft book.
Well, so we should talk about that because, so this month, for anyone who signs up for the newsletter this month, we're giving away the full bundle of Becca Syme books, the Dear Writer, You Need to Quit books, which are awesome if you haven't read them. But so here's my question, Dawn, and maybe this is an offline question and you can tell me if that's the case. But so once people have joined the newsletter, are they no longer eligible to win the thing? So like next month, we'll be giving away another craft book. Is it everybody on the list plus everybody who signs up that month, or is it only people who sign up that month? It should be everybody, right?
Yes. I assumed it was everybody, unless you won the month before. If you win the month before, we're going to give it to somebody else.
You're out of luck for at least 6 months, I think.
Yeah.
If you,
But definitely everybody.
I'm glad we got that.
And we have my new exciting thing, my new thing that I've been playing with and having my teenager give me tips on is that we now have Evident Ink has joined Instagram, and Canva has become my new best friend. And so we've got story tips and inspiration and all sorts of fun stuff on the Evident. So if you play on Instagram, follow us on there and you'll get to see some interesting stuff.
Yay.
Pinterest.
Are we still doing Pinterest?
Yes, we have Pinterest too.
It's so Pinteresting.
Yes.
I know. I'm sorry.
Very funny.
Okay. So that is pretty much it. And then we wanted to teach. Oh, yeah, we do have courses. We always mention those, but we're actually going to have I think we're on track for a new one somewhere in January.
Yes. New one this month.
I showed you my planner, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning things now. At the goal, project, and task level down to the actual day. And so I feel somewhat confident saying that we will also have a new course I want to say it's February. It may be March. I need to consult the planner to see where I put it, but I am working on a new course.
Yes. So we should have several new courses this year, and we'll be letting you know like what the topics are going to be about those courses and more information about that very, very soon.
Yes. So some of them will be little bite-sized courses on just like a quick little helpful topic. Some of them will be full-blown, what did people say, soup to nuts? I've never really understood that. But, the whole banana, that's not a thing either, is it? Enchilada.
Let's go from A to Z.
We'll go from A to
Z. Yes.
Or you can have a banana enchilada or whatever you want to say.
All right.
I have a hard time with it. Anyway,
so those are the exciting things we have going on. And then January is all about getting reset. It's all about getting all of our clients ready for the new year, getting our new people ready to see kind of how things work. And so the next shows we have coming up next week, we are talking about fighting writer's block and burnout and imposter syndrome, all of those things that hold you back. We're going to talk about how do you get past that.
This is super relevant because I was at Romance Author Mastermind. We've talked about that a little bit. And I mean, the people at this conference are like freaking rock stars in the romance world. I mean, I was there.
Of course.
I'm not sure why, but no, it's like people who you see their name and you're like, oh my God. And so I'm in a bunch of Facebook groups with some of those people, focusing on different types of things. And this year there's a lot of focus on productivity and on sort of taking care of yourself, self-preservation, like the way your brain approaches this work that we're all trying to do. And so many of these like really established, very successful people are like talking about the questions that they ask themselves and the narrative that they have in their own heads. And they're so negative. These wildly successful people are asking them things like, how long do you think it'll be until they figure out you don't belong here? Or what if I can never write another good book? Or what if it's all just been total luck and I suck at this? Like crazy stuff for people who have proven again and again that they are successful and good at this and belong here. So it's very relevant, I think, even to the most successful people, to look at your self-talk and look at your process and figure out where in there are you making time to take care of yourself, and to make sure that everything here is where it needs to be to keep you moving forward in a healthy way.
So we're going to talk about everything you just said, how to address that, how to work past it, everything that's holding you back. And then after that, we're talking about productivity and deciding on your version of success.
We'll address the comparison syndrome in there, I'm guessing, because every writer suffers from that, I think. And then the week after that, the last show in January is going to be finding your own process and setting realistic goals. So we'll get into the nitty-gritty on all those things. And I think that will set us up nicely for some of the more craft-focused stuff that we have coming February, March. And I think in February, because it's the month of love, we're going to do some heavy focus on romance. So it should be super fun.
Yes, I'm excited about some things we're going to do in there. That'll be a good... We can use your meet cute that you had as an example.
We'll have to make it a little cuter because right now it's a little smarmy.
Do's and don'ts. Number 1, do not have him pull mini bottles out of his jacket.
Cute. If the man himself had not just told me about his horrible divorce. And anyway.
Okay. We won't go back to that. Okay. So that's what we have. That's where we're at. That's who we are and what we do.
Yep. So as always, you know where to find us. There is a contact form on our website. You can always hit us up on Facebook. Send us email. You've got Nancy@evidentinc.com or Dawn@evidentinc.com. We're all over the place.
We are here.
All right. Well, it was good to see you guys. Happy New Year and welcome back and happy writing. We'll see you next week.
Bye.